Hi there, my name's Jonathan Delbridge and this is the second in a series of videos that I've been putting together looking at various aspects of piano technique. The first one, which some of you might have seen, was all about scales for beginner students, and today I wanted to take it a little bit further and look at scales for slightly more advanced students. This is for intermediate pianists, and when I say intermediate I'm thinking of pianists who are around about grade 4 to 5 using the Associated Board of the Royal Schools of Music exams. By the time you reach these particular grades, you're starting to perform scales with a few more sharps and flats in it, and when you get to grade 5 you'd be expected to perform all of the major and minor scales over a range of 3 octaves. The whole reason why we do scales really is not just to pass exams, although that's obviously part of it, but it's really to enable us to perform and to play music. The whole idea of scales is to work on building up a technique that we then need for playing pieces. So when you play a scale in an exam, the whole idea is to play it at the speed that they want for the exam, which you can find in the regulations or in the syllabus, and at a fairly even rhythm, or a very even rhythm, and with even dynamics. Having said that, it's very useful to practice scales in lots of different ways, because when you actually see them in pieces of music, they might have a gradual crescendo or a diminuendo, or they might have different rhythm patterns, so it's a great idea to practice them in lots of different ways. I'm going to just show you some ways of practicing perhaps C major scale, but obviously you can use these on all different types of scales. So for an exam, we might be expected to play it with a nice even rhythm like this, and so on. But let's practice it with different dynamics, so perhaps we could try starting softly and getting loud as we go up the scale. We could try the whole scale quietly. And all this is going to help towards playing pieces, and when we get scale passages within pieces. Also try different rhythms. We can do a dotted rhythm. Great for building some finger strength. Could do it dotted the other way. When you're doing all these different rhythms, be really careful that you stick with the correct finger pattern. Also make up your own rhythms, so why not? And you can invent all sorts of rhythm patterns, and if you start to combine those with the different loud and softs, you can play scales in all sorts of different ways and have a lot of fun with them. And what you are doing, as well as building up really good finger strength, you will also be practicing scales in the way they might appear in an actual piece of music, so that could be quite useful. Don't forget sometimes to practice scales hands separately, particularly your left hand. Often pianists are slightly weaker in the left hand, so practicing that hand by itself might just help you to hear any unevenness there, perhaps you missed when you were playing hands together. Another way of spotting unevenness in the left hand is actually to play with the hands 2 octaves apart. And when you do that, you kind of find that the left hand notes are a little bit easier to hear, so that could be quite useful. I'll give you one more little way of practicing scales before I finish this video today, and this involves using a metronome. I've set the metronome to 70, but any kind of fairly steady speed. And I'll take C major scale. In the right hand, I'm going to start on middle C, and I'm going to do 2 notes, the first 2 notes of the scale, fitting with that metronome beat, like this. Okay? Then I keep the same beat, and I fit 3 notes between the beat. And then I add another note, 4. Make sure you use the right finger pattern, tucking the thumb under there. 5, 6, and so on, up to 8. And you could just see, doing that with a metronome, how many notes you could perhaps fit into that time slot. You might find at intermediate level you get 1 octave, or maybe you get an octave and a few other notes. Do the same in the left hand, but in the left hand it's a good idea to start on middle C and go down, and so on, adding an extra note each time. So there's a few little tips. Thanks to those of you who made some comments on the last video. So please do comment, because I'm sure some of you have got ideas you can share with me as well, which other people will find useful. So please do make some comments, and it'd be great if some of you would perhaps sign up to my YouTube video, youtube.com/entertainerd, or on my blogspot as well, which is jonathandelbridge.blogspot.com. be lovely if some of you could sign up there, and I'll let you know then when the next video is out, and also you can make some comments, and that should be really helpful. Thanks.